Good morning, family. Dynamic Denny. I want to talk to you in regards to some of the things that have been happening in my beloved hometown of Akron, Ohio, since August 9th of 2016, just this past Tuesday. Many of you are aware that, this young man out of Boston, Massachusetts, came into town. He let everybody know via a video that went viral about him being sick and tired of the state of all-out chaos that our city is in behind the heroin deaths and the heroin overdose right here in Akron, Ohio. Billy Paff from Heroin is Killing My Town drove from Boston, Massachusetts to Akron in an attempt to make a change. Within 48 hours, he was able to rally up over 2,000 people to show up at Lock 3, downtown Akron, where we had a night that was not just a vigil. It wasn't just an awareness thing. It wasn't just an opportunity to hear more speakers in regards to speakers and stats in regards to what's going on here in my beloved hometown. If you saw that event as anything other than the coming together of the recovery community, those that support the recovery community, those that work in the recovery community, those that work in the addictions field, if you saw it as anything other than family members who have lost loved ones to this horrible epidemic, this crisis, if you saw it as anything other than one man really genuinely caring and having what he considers a start of a solution, then you totally missed the message. And while I was there, not to be so much on the cynical side, but I have to be, because since that event on August 9th, I've caught all kinds of slack and hell from people out there in the community that, number one, they don't know me. Number two, they don't know Billy. Number three, they don't understand the system in which we operate. They don't understand, what it takes to put together an event like that. In a very short amount of time. It was static. It was grassroots. It was organic in nature. But if you were there and you were able to see the love that was in the crowd, the support that was given, the faces of the people that had lost loved ones, the frustration on those that were standing out there seeking answers, seeking, some kind of hope, and out of desperation mostly, but the overall willingness for the community to come together and have this event. If you saw it as anything other than that, I want to kind of talk to you this morning, because unbeknownst to many of you, what it took for us to even, number one, for that man to be able to drive down here. And we're going to talk about why it took somebody from outside the community to come down at some point. But, what it took from the moment that that person hit hit the state of Ohio, what it took for that venue to be opened up, what it took to be able to gather the speakers and those that did address the crowd that night. I don't understand why there was so much criticism involved in it. I understand the nature of criticism, because some of you have expressed, well, I would have done it this way, I would have done it that way. Well, you have to remember that in a very short amount of time, not only were we able to have this young man who it was placed on his heart to show up here, not for any other reason, not for personal gain or anything like that, because he is an agent of change. How do I know? Because I've spent time with Billy Paff. I've known him, long before he was known as that guy on Facebook coming in to save the town and everything. His heart is pure, and in the operations part, the pulling of this together, it took quite a bit of effort from people who are being slammed now, publicly and privately. You know, I'm going to speak from my perspective first and what I've witnessed. I've had to actually deactivate my Facebook page because of the criticisms that come in on my part as being, number one, someone who operates, an organization here that's designed to help those that are in addiction and seeking recovery. And then I had to endure, the backlash from the black community as far as questions like, why now? And I heard it, and lo and behold, there was one man that, was not on the schedule that did his best to get the microphone, and lo and behold, he did. And prior to, the comment was they don't want to hear what I have to say because I'm going to tell the truth. Okay. And when I asked him what that truth was, it was along the lines of, well, why now? Okay. Why black people been dying from this for years and everything. Okay. Well, I agree, but why not now? So what if it's got the attention? Please take me back to the time when, there was a black rally, in regards to the heroin epidemic. Take me back to the time when, we did march, when we did gather and we did hold vigils as a people, as a community, as a black community. Okay. So, God bless you. It doesn't matter. Our people are dying right now today, and it's affecting the whole community. Lo and behold, we don't talk about the stigma and the posture that I grew up under, with mom and grandma, not talking about what happens inside the home, in the black home. I'm sorry, in my home. And that's the mentality. But yeah, if it's happening now, why aren't you on board? What does it matter? Our people are still dying. Just as many black folks are dying as there are white folks. Well, you know what? Let me retract that. Black people are dying too from the same epidemic. So the stance that you take is based on, what are you willing to do to make the change? And please don't criticize those that are, okay? On another note, if you're in it for likes and not love, you don't need to be a part of this movement, okay? August 9th was a moment, but heroin is killing my town. The efforts that have been made since then, okay, it's a movement. And there are a lot of scene things going on behind the scenes that you have no idea are. And it's not even about the individual. I've heard rumor of people trying to exploit, okay, or that Billy is trying to exploit, that the organizers of this organization, whom people are guessing are trying to exploit. Nobody has asked for any kind of recognition. Nobody's asked for any kind of financial donations. All of this stuff is coming together because people who care. There was a petition that Billy asked a young lady to start, and many of you guys signed it or seen it, because we needed some weight. That petition reached almost 6,000 or over 6,000 signatures in a very short amount of time. Well, we printed that petition up and we took it to the powers that be because the overall arching plan is to declare a state of emergency right here. We are in crisis. You know it as well as I do. But the person that created that, because her name wasn't put out there as just starting a petition, is now bashing the efforts, of Billy Path, of heroin is killing my town, and anybody else that she can think of that may be involved in what we're trying to accomplish here. So a message to you. If you're in it for likes, okay, we don't need you. I appreciate that you took the time to create something, but I was there listening on speakerphone when you said that you wanted this petition pulled, and I don't get that part. That it was private information, proprietary information. No, it's not. You signed you created a public petition, and you knew what it was going to be used for, to help sway the decision makers and to help and declare this area, Akron, a state of emergency. So I really don't get that part, but I do get the fact that, you pushed some people out of the way when the cameras were rolling. I did see that too. I also remember you walking up to me and asking me for a financial contribution to your organization, which you just started in July, and hearing a story about, how financially strapped you are right now, and me not being able to help. And I do know that you talked to some of the other people that were in attendance that night in regards to the money, but that's, neither here nor there right now. My plea to you, my prayer for you, is that you see this thing for what it is, and it's so much bigger than just you and your individual needs. People are dying, okay? And if you have the means, if you have the tools to help like you started out to, why is that a challenge now? At some point, you have to realize that this thing is so much bigger than you, than me. And it takes all of us as a community, as a team. We came together on a monumental night. It was unprecedented. The question before the group afterwards, the committee, so to speak, is, okay, what's next? And that was put out there too. This was another opportunity for individuals to just come up with, okay, well, we've seen this before. We're tired of walking. We're tired of all of those things. Well, unbeknownst to you, we've still been working. A lot of us, 14, 18 hours trying to reach those that can help us make a difference right here on the grander scale and get what's needed so that no more lives are lost. But ignorance is bliss, and my people are dying for lack of knowledge. And one of the biggest barriers that we face today is because you, as a person who claims to be in recovery, are still displaying addiction associated negative behavior. Do you really represent the recovery community? Or are you helping to get rid of the stigma that's associated with addiction? I'm a person in long-term recovery, okay? And I know what the definition of recovery is. And my life started changing when I decided to take a very close look, an in-depth look at who I was and what I wanted out of life. But if I'm still running around pushing my opinion on other people, if I'm still running around lying, stealing, bashing other people, of course people are going to have a negative outlook or a negative disposition on recovery because you're still in addiction. You just haven't picked up, or you're just clean. In the rooms, they call it a dry drunk. So what needs to change? Number one, come out of the closet. There are over 23 million people in America living in recovery. Okay? And when I say come out of the closet, I've been out of the recovery closet for a very long time, and my life has changed. I've got support all over the state, all over this beloved city, all over the country. My family understands because they're educated. We know what addiction is, but the world doesn't, and they like to show the negative side of things. But when you take a group of people after one of the most beautiful events in regards to recovery on August 9th down to the police station, and you question police officers who have nothing to do, no other authority except to try and maintain peace and serve the community, regardless of what's going on out there. Okay, I'm aware of that too. And you show them the addiction side versus the recovery side. That's why you haven't been at the table. That's why you're not a part of what we consider the solution, because you're still contributing to the problem. Yeah, my name is Denny Michael Wilson. I'm not ashamed that I'm a person in recovery. Are you? And I get the fact that whether or not you remain anonymous is a choice, all right? But at the same time, you can't be so unvocal about who you are in the basement, okay? Or be so vocal about who you are in the basement of a church or in a 12-step room or wherever you decide to remain anonymous and then be so vocal out in the community. You know, that's contradictory to the efforts that are being made by people who really truly care. It's time to unite. We have a voice. We've shown that. There are people that don't understand addiction, but they do understand, or they don't understand recovery, but they do understand addiction because they've witnessed it. They've been pained by it. That may be you. That may be a family member. But what are we doing on the recovery side? Get involved, okay? Come out of the closet. Your life is changing. You're not that same person that you were while you were actively using in any way, shape, or form. Even if that's the only thing that you can lean on, that you are clean and sober today. Tell somebody. Don't pick an opportunity just to be on TV or be in the media, okay? Don't do it for likes. Do it out of love. I love each and every one of you, all right? We're going to get this thing done. We've been knocking on doors for the last 4 or 5 days, continuously, brainstorming, on the radio, podcasts, TV, news reporters. Why? Because our people are dying. And it's not about you. It's about saving our community. It's about saving lives. It's about no more tears. They don't have to fall. But there are those of you that really do consider this thing to be about you or a group of people. Again, unapologetically a black man. Unapologetically a person in long-term recovery. And definitely, unapologetically, a Christian. Out here doing my best to make a change. Not just for me, but for you. I love you.